Hi everyone, I'm James Edwire, and today I wanted to talk a bit about how genetic methods can help complement native species conservation and improve conservation outcomes. My work specifically focuses on the iconic Murray cod. Murray cod is found throughout the Murray-Darling Basin, a complex basin system which faces many threats. Each threat poses unique challenges from a conservation perspective due to affecting different species and populations differently. For instance, droughts can cause extreme stress all the way up to death of individuals and populations. The basin is also home to countless barriers, both big and small. Barriers can restrict native fish movement, separate breeding populations, or interrupt routine migrations. But the type of barrier greatly impacts whether different species are actually restricted. So often, we need to understand how a species responds specifically to a certain barrier. Considering these threats, we can ask, what can we do to mitigate their impacts? With, for instance, questions such as can we promote population resilience, helping reduce the impact of events such as fish kills? We can also ask, can barriers be identified? And identify whether different populations require different management due to being distinct from other rivers. Now, how does genetics help conservation management of our native species? Well, genetics can help us measure connectivity between individuals and populations. It can predict the vulnerability of a population to future change and monitor breeding success and overall genetic health of a population. By incorporating genetics into current management practices, this information helps to complement current management of species, helping provide better long-term outcomes for native species. Now, onto what I've done. For this work, I've sequenced over 1,000 Murray cod for over 2,000 genetic markers. Sampling took place over 15 different rivers and sections of the southern Murray-Darling Basin, and every life stage was sampled from juveniles up to adults for the species. When managing species, it's important to know what scales are appropriate for management to take place. For example, should we focus on small sections of rivers, whole rivers, or are whole catchments the scale required to best help the species? Using genetics, we can determine how isolated each river population is from another. I've plotted some of the results of that up on the map here. These analyses can tell us a lot, but a quick way to interpret them is to look at the colors. The more similarly colored columns each river population shares, the more genetically similar they are, and therefore the more connected they are. We can see some clear patterns here, like that genetically, Murray cod changes over increasing distance from the upper Murray down to the lower Murray. This tells us that connectivity is somewhat limited, and so management of different subsections of the basin need to be considered. Using this sort of analyses, we can also identify barriers which are impacting Murray cod on a local scale. For example, the Gowundari Weir is clearly blocking movement between the adjacent Goulburn and Broken rivers. These sorts of barriers make for ideal candidates for either their removal or the installation of a fishway. Genetics also offers a unique way to measure important characteristics and demographics. Genetic sequencing helps measure genetic diversity and individual inbreeding, which help estimate the chances of a population undergoing inbreeding depression. Genetics also helps us classify the number of breeding adults within a river and can help identify whether breeding seasons are poor or successful. These analyses allow for better management of Murray cod through identifying populations which are undertaking poor breeding seasons and therefore require additional supplementation or temporary support through restricted fishing. So, to summarize, the use of genetics can help complement numerous current management strategies, including stocking, fishway development, and population monitoring. In this way, genetics can help make the best use of often limited resources for the management of our native species. Genetics can be incorporated into the management of many native species, making it a highly versatile tool for conservation management. And I just wanted to say thank you to all those who helped with this project, including the Victorian Environmental Assessment Council for their support. Thank you.